From the Alex Trebek stage at Sony Picture Studios, this is Inside Jeopardy!
Wow, wow. Oh, there he is, some OG Johnny Gilbert on the axe. That signals a brand new episode of Inside Jeopardy, your exclusive and official podcast destination for all things happening in the world of Jeopardy, aka the Jeppa World. I'm Michael Davies, joined today by producer Sarah Foss.
Michael, great to see you. First time I've seen you in all video now that we have the podcast on YouTube.
Yes, transcontinentally. I'm in Bridgehampton, New York. You're in Los Angeles. We wrapped up our season in JPT.
Our year.
Yeah, our year. Amazing.
We've got more of season 41 to come.
Yeah, we broke a record. I think this was a Jeppa World record. 253 episodes of regular Jeopardy shot this year. Original recipe, 40 episodes of Pop Culture Jeopardy, 9 episodes of Masters, 13 episodes of Celebrity Jeopardy. Takes us to a total of 315 episodes.
Yes.
We think. Could be give or take a few.
I feel like our math is pretty strong, but even if you give or take a few, it is a record. We shot 128 of those within a 3-month period. So we are just record-breaking this year, Michael.
Yeah, have to credit the entire team and crew, and especially the writers. I think we wrote more than 25,000 clues this year, which is an amazing work across more than 4,000 categories. That is the work that our writers and our researchers do to prepare all of that material, everybody involved in the editorial side of our show. But by the way, post, I saw the producer, Megan, who does our post. She looked exhausted at the end of your drinks across the road at the backyard. Sorry.
Backstage.
The backstage. Backyard is another bar I quite enjoy. But the backstage, she looked exhausted. Her whole team, I think, have edited so many shows. I mean, overall, I don't think we'll be making 315 again this year. I think it was a product of a lot of different reasons. You know, we did loads of new work on the set. We got a brand new set, as you've now started to see in syndication. We had Pop Culture, which we're going to talk about in a second. We just so much Jeopardy this year.
I don't know, Michael. I will never put it past you. I feel like record-breaking could happen year after year with you at the helm, and I'm here for it.
Well, by the way, this is in addition. Who knows how many hours of Good Morning Football for the NFL Network and for syndication, how many hours of Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, my Fat Joe talk show, my Olympic show with Alexandra Cooper.
And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire?
And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? You're right. There was that too. I mean, this was a TV year of multiple hours, but we are so fortunate to do what we do and work in this glorious business while it still stands,
yes.
Sarah. Okay,
well,
where are we? Where are we in JAT?
All right.
Take me back.
In JPT, as you mentioned, we did kind of hit the record-breaking year numbers with a bang because we had our Tournament of Champions last week. We had our honors event, and what a great group of champions. We brought together 21 just incredible personalities and great competition. I can't wait for people to see that.
Yeah, this was a wonderful TOC. I would say, without giving anything away, felt different than other TOCs. Generationally, just felt like there's sort of a changing of the guard in the Jeopardy contestant pool. Really fascinating stuff. Some brilliant gameplay. Can't wait for you all to see it. Yeah,
and just competitive games across the board. Really fun to see. We're coming up on the cutoff in JAT for that TOC that we just recorded. So as these shows are starting to air, this is the last week that competitors could still earn a spot in that competition and tournament kind of structure. Everyone else will be headed into our competition that will happen in 2026, that TOC, because this one will air in 2025. JPT, JAT, it's all kind of convolging together, but it's all good.
A lot going on. Obviously, the Second Chance starts airing, I think, the week after Christmas in the United States, and carries right on through Champions Wildcard, through the TOC. And when we come back in January, we're going to be getting ready for the JIT again, the return of the JIT
Yes, return of the JIT. And so we're going to take a couple weeks off on the pod. I think we all need a little break. So we will be back on January 6th to recap, next week's games and anything you have missed in the meantime, talk about Second Chance. So don't worry, we'll have everything for you after that. But really, people right now are talking about Pop Culture Jeopardy. It, of course, debuted last week on Wednesday. The first 3 episodes dropped. And I feel like there's been some hot takes, Michael.
Oh, well, look, number one, it's I thank you to everybody who's watched and sent us such lovely comments. It's done great. It's been, charting. For those who look at Amazon charts, it's been charting, from the moment it went out. It's been charting, top 3, top 4 on Amazon. The social reaction has been huge. The number of streams has been massive. And just to, once again, contextualize this for for everyone listening, I regard, the existential threat to Jeopardy is that we exist only on broadcast television, and broadcast television is, while it's hanging on and doing better than I think most people expected, Jeopardy is going to have to, over the next few years, transition at least part of its business to streaming. And certainly in order to find younger viewers, in order to introduce, new audiences and other audiences to Jeopardy, people who do not, have broadcast television, or people who have cut the cord and left the availability for our audience, we have to transition the show to streaming. Our first experiment in that is to take a new version of Jeopardy, Pop Culture Jeopardy, and take that to streaming. And I think, as many people know, we're exploring the streaming opportunities for the Monday through Friday show right now that would sort of exist in next day streaming. So we're exploring those with multiple parties. But this is our first experiment, and it seems to have done pretty well. The burning questions, I think you're referring to, mainly involve the music. I mean, I must say this was probably the most fun I had at Jeopardy this year, was working with our composers at Bleeding Fingers. It's a Hans Zimmer company. They work on all of the redos of our theme, have done for years, and working with them on the new theme for Pop Culture Jeopardy, and this is tough work, because the original theme of Jeopardy is just so good. It's so perfect. Updating it, you can do so much more damage than you can help it. And certainly when I came in, we were just doing JNCC, remember, the Jeopardy National College Championships. And we'd written a whole new theme for that when I arrived, and I listened to it and I was immediately like, oh no, that's not Jeopardy. That's not the Jeopardy music. And so we clawed back. But even that theme, in hindsight, I think I said to you at the time, I felt like it had just changed a bit too much, the feeling of the show, and it didn't quite work. And particularly the Think music, I felt didn't work in the new theme. So when we looked at this, at the Pop Culture Jeopardy theme, the one thing that I decided going in is we would not affect the Think music, because the Think music is just so signature. It's been the least amended piece of music in the entire Jeopardy library. I think what it is right now is just so perfect. I can't imagine improving upon it. I'm never going to say never, but I sort of feel like the Think music, the 30-second Think music for Final Jeopardy sort of stays. The Pop Culture theme, what we went for, and you see the sort of the fast sequence of logos at the beginning of the show, of the Jeopardy logo. We started off, and the question I posed to our graphics group internally and to the party company we used was, what would a Basquiat logo for Pop Culture have been? What would a Keith Haring logo have been? What would a Warhol logo have been? Like, I wanted to explore all these different ideas of what artists would have done with Pop Culture. They went a step further, the external company, and started looking at various brands that would sort of exist within the world of pop culture, and what would a Jeopardy logo look like in their treatment. We frankly early on liked so many alternative logos that Nikki Batelli, who runs our social group and our internal graphics group, and I said, well, what would it look like if we just put them all together? And she had one of her people slam them all together very, very fast. They cut it to Plastic Bertrand, Ça Plane Pour Moi, if you know that classic of Belgian new wave. And it was just so good. We have realized immediately that that's what we were going to do in the opening sequence. We needed a piece of music that worked for that we could write. The briefing I gave to Bleeding Fingers was, I want to imagine that in the early 2000s, you'd formed an 80s, 90s cover band to interpret the Jeopardy music influenced by all of your favorite tracks from the 80s and 90s. So it's got this very sort of retro feel, but quite a self-consciously retro feel, as though this was done from a point in the future. But there's a lot of synth. There's a lot of like cars in that. There's a lot of sort of early Police. There are a bunch of references. The only thing it doesn't have is a sax solo, which, by the way, I did consider at some point. But yeah, it's got a lot of 80s, 90s feel, and I know people have really enjoyed that music. I really enjoyed working on that. I'm passionate about music. That was just, it was a joy to work on with the Bleeding Fingers guys.
Yes, hats off to you, Bleeding Fingers, producer Barry Jean Dorman.
Absolutely.
Lots of hard work went into that, we know, and the results do not disappoint. I think what also has been so great is to see the positive comments about Colin Jost as a Jeopardy host. I have experienced all of the guest host days. I know I was probably the most hesitant, not anything against Colin, but just knowing that we had done this with so many people and just how hard it was. And here we were going to challenge Colin not only with coming in and hosting, a new format, a new game, something he had never done, but we were going to have him do it with 9 players, 3 times the amount of competitors. It was a tall order, and wow, he did not disappoint. I just had such an enjoyable time working with him, and I so appreciate just the dedication he gave to coming into learning it, to getting it right, but then also putting his own spin on it that really makes pop culture its own thing.
Yeah, look, we were very fortunate that I had been working with Colin on another project that's in development at NBC. And, so I was getting to experience, one, how smart he was, how well he worked in a quiz sort of environment. And secondly, I got to know how important Jeopardy was to him and how much he admired and respected the brand and respected Alex and Ken and had watched them so hard, doing their work. And thirdly, let's face it, that he does live television every single week really helps him in preparation, helps him in the way that he works, helps him to cold read. I think he mentioned that in his article, in his interview with The Ringer's Claire McNear. But he came in and I had quite a lot of confidence that he was going to be good. I must admit, even I didn't realize quite how good he was going to be.
Yeah. And
was very, very pleasantly surprised. And really, it's the dedication he showed to it, the respect he showed to the game, to the brand, to the institution, to the contestants, to everybody who worked on the show, the staff and the crew, and to Ken. And all of those were just very, very important factors.
Another thing people are talking about is the difficulty of the material. I think people thought, pop culture Jeopardy, it's just going to be a fluff piece. It is not.
Well, it has to do 2 things. One, it has to be a more accessible form of Jeopardy. So it's got to, when the categories reveal and when the clues play, it's got to feel for, non-core Jeopardy viewers who are interested in that canon. The people for whom, medieval history and Renaissance art and Latin American geography just do not sing. It had to appeal to those people as well. And the material had to be accessible and it had to be play-alongable with, or with play-alongable, because I don't want to end that sentence with a preposition.
No.
So we had to sort of find a fine line of, one, making it accessible, and secondly, creating it across such a range that you can really look at the team that ends up winning this competition and be like, wow. All 3 members of that team, because we didn't want a game dominated by one person, all 3 members of that team have displayed a range of knowledge across all forms of popular culture from multiple decades, from multiple genres, from multiple platforms, from multiple sources, in multiple media. That is just truly impressive knowledge. And I think we got it pretty good in season 1. We're going to continue to sort of look at that for season 2 and see ways in which we can improve that.
Yeah, well, for the first time out, I think it's a pretty great first going. One thing people also are talking about, as much as they might have said, we were hoping for new theme music, they were so happy that the voice of Jeopardy, Johnny Gilbert, is the one introducing these teams. And I know you didn't doubt that for a single moment, Michael.
Well, look, as you know, as you remember from our interview with Johnny earlier this year, Johnny's only done 9,000 hours of Jeopardy, and until he's done 10,000, let's face it, we don't really know how good he's going to be. So this was another opportunity to get him closer to 10,000 hours. No, I mean, Johnny is Jeopardy. He's synonymous with Jeopardy. Why wouldn't we have Johnny do it? Like, who else could possibly do it? And did a fantastic job. I just want to shout out the writers and researchers again, the passion that they showed for this. We brought in some new writers as well. We had some new voices working with our existing group of writers and researchers, and just how they attacked this and made it still Jeopardy, even though it was pop culture Jeopardy, I think was really, really impressive.
Well, we've got 3 more knockout games that you'll be able to see on Wednesday. So we want to let you know which teams will be playing. First up, we have It's a She Thing in Knockout Game 4. Brenna Dacey, Ashley Kuba, Aaron Bagwell. We've got South Shore Squad, Daniel Walsh, Amy Keys, Jack Nix, and Generation XYZ, because each of them represents a different generation. Anita Chu, Brian Chu, and Kylie Akiyama.
Yeah, if I shout loudly from where I'm sitting, the South Shore Squad could probably hear me a little bit down island from where I am right now. In Knockout Game 5, we have What is South Dakota, Emily Denkin, Chris Hartman, and Asher Denkin. The sidekicks, that's Thea Rice, Julian Axelrod, and Emily Riggs. And the stage names, Ryan Feeney, Rocky Granum, and Kemi Aiko.
Yeah, in Knockout Game 6, it's Beauty and the Beasts, Brendan McKenna, Gabrielle Damasi, Chris Tajian, and then we have the Leg Ladies with 2 G's in leg. I thought this might have been a reference to the old pantyhose, but no, their last names are all leg. We have Ellie, Julie, and Maddie, and finally Sparkle Stop Motion, Lenny Halpern, Dan Hacker, and Brittany Mosley. Well, what do you think, Michael? Should we talk about a few highlights from last week's knockout games in PCJ, as the kids are calling it?
Absolutely. Great games. And I just watched them again, so they're fresh in my mind.
Well, we saw the Queen City Kids, Little Pocket Monsters, and Personality Hires advance to the quarterfinals. We got to hear Johnny Gilbert do a film thespian category. Whenever you can hear him quote Inglourious Bastards, it's a great day. And this was something, Colin was instructed to, per you, and kind of to reference a format of Days Gone By. He was asked to use the first name of the team and then the team member, and this allowed for a hilarious moment. Take a listen.
Queen Darcy, you have the board.
Not the first time I've been called Queen.
It's the name.
I just slipped back to trauma.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yes, Queen's Darcy. This is sort of a throwback to College Bowl, to the old University Challenge, which I grew up watching. And yes, when he abbreviated it to Queen Darcy, it gave us that great moment.
It was just perfect. And a lot of people have been wondering, how does Colin know who to call on? There's 3 team members, and of course he's supposed to call on the team member within the team who had the last correct response. We did update his screen so that he could look down and see who that was, but I was also the voice he never wanted in his head telling him who those people were over and over again. So lucky.
Yeah, Queen Darcy, Queen Darcy, Queen Darcy. Yeah.
Exactly. All right, well, let's head back into last week's syndicated shows now. On Monday, we kicked off the week with returning champ Susan going up against Evan and Mike. Evan gained an early lead and never looked back, nearly running away with it, but then Mike was able to stay in contention with a $5,000 correct daily double. Final, though, was a triple stumper, and Evan comes away with the win.
Yeah, Evan ran the anagrammed occupations category. Many fans, they're always in awe about how quickly our contestants can respond to these kind of clues.
In the postgame, Evan says they credit their Jeopardy success to playing a lot of rhythm video games, saying that it got them used to pressing a button at a particular time, and Evan was going totally off of sound, just in the zone.
Yeah, that's really an interesting point. We are seeing buzzer speeds increase. We really are seeing a faster reaction time in general. And I think one of the reasons maybe for younger players, it's about playing a certain kind of video game, which is reactive to what's going on the screen. And the sort of the order, the audio cues of Ken finishing the clue.
Yeah, and we heard that from Victoria, that was her main way of studying, was really doing these rhythm games. So I think people are saying, hey, if it works for Victoria, maybe it can work for me too.
Okay, on Tuesday, Evan returned to face Stevie and Luca. Evan once again got out to an early lead, but Stevie caught fire in Double Jeopardy to take the lead, which he managed to carry into final after Evan dropped $4,000 on the last Daily Double. Another triple stumper final, and Stevie, with an unconventional minimal wager, got the win.
Yeah, Evan went on Reddit to talk about this because they said, if you want to know one of the wildest emotional deltas I've ever experienced, it was the 5 or so seconds between when Ken revealed that Stevie was incorrect. Oh my gosh, did I just pull this off? And then when they revealed his small wager, no, I definitely did not. Congrats to Stevie. Playing Jeopardy was an incredible adventure, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. I can't imagine what those seconds are like for the contestants, Michael. We have it all in front of us. We've already lived the drama during the 30 seconds when they are making, their responses during the think music. So we're there. We're settled. We know, but they don't know. And I can't imagine what that's like.
Yeah, one of my observations on Jeopardy is both our producers and our viewers are really good at making their Jeopardy wagers in hindsight.
That is something I have learned as well. Well, Ken did speak with Stevie after his first win and talked about that final Jeopardy wager.
Stevie, well done. I want to talk about the wager and final really quick. You played some kind of 8-dimensional chess there. Did you have wagering theory?
I was hoping you'd ask this.
Okay.
It was my order number at lunch yesterday.
What you're saying is that if the line had been longer and you had a 4-digit order number, Evan would be a 2-day Jeopardy champion. Is that right?
Could be.
Are you going to keep betting numbers that appear to you just in real life?
We'll see what happens. I'm just winging it.
So far, it's working. You're a Jeopardy champion, Stevie. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Could have been the biggest success that's ever come out of the Sony commissary, I have to say.
I love it. It's an excellent commissary.
It is. Well, moving on to Wednesday's game where Stevie went up against Kimberly and Gloria. With 24 correct responses, Stevie was on a roll and captured a runaway win.
Stevie ran the movie creatures category, including the Daily Double. Ken, as we've heard quite a lot recently, did his Yoda impression. We hear that. We've heard that on a few versions of the show, as well as on the $400 clue. I'm not going to do it myself.
You're not? I was so expecting that. Okay, I'll do it. On Dagobah, this green creature tells a neophyte with a ship stuck in the muck. Size matters not. Okay.
I think the only part of the impression of that clue that you need to do as Yoda is just size matters not, by the way. But I appreciate the entire thing. If that was, in fact, Yoda that you were doing, nobody knows.
I don't know, but my husband tells me I speak like Yoda all the time. But I think that's just my inability to say things in the correct order. So I've gotten some practice, apparently. Let's hear how Stevie was hearing after that, or feeling after that dominant win.
Was 0 your order number at breakfast? Because that's exciting, right to the front of the line.
Yeah.
Hey,
Congratulations, that was a great game.
Thank you.
How did that feel?
Oh, it felt very good. Felt very, very good.
Well, winning on Jeopardy, good feeling?
Yeah,
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. And I never did it in a bolo tie, so you're having an experience I've never even attempted.
I know.
Wow.
It's a pretty good look. Is that kind of your thing?
Thank you. It kind of became my thing. So I won this bolo tie. Me and my friend Khalil played trivia in Brooklyn, and third place gets a prize from the owner of the trivia company's closet. And so we won third place that time, and so I've worn it. I wore it and it looked good. I've worn it to weddings and now twice on Jeopardy.
It accidentally became your thing.
Yeah, I felt appropriate with the trivia, angle. So
you were okay wearing something you wore to finish third in trivia on Jeopardy.
It worked out.
It worked out.
Stevie has a number of unconventional choices that seem to have worked out for him on Jeopardy. But on Thursday, we saw Stevie, Dave, and Lisa battle it out. It was an evenly matched game all the way through until Dave went on a tear in Double Jeopardy. And thanks to a $7,000 Daily Double, he earned a runaway win.
And now a quick word from our sponsor.
When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like Heinz and Mattel, sure, you probably think about a great product. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business that make it possible. Well, the secret's out. Businesses that want to grow with Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. So upgrade your business and get the same checkout Heinz and Mattel use. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Jeopardy. All lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Jeopardy to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Jeopardy.
And now, back to Inside Jeopardy! Well, for Friday, we closed out the week with Dave, Zach, and Aaron. This was a well-played game by all three players, but it was Dave who managed to maintain the lead heading into final, where he was correct, and he enters the weekend as a Jeopardy champion who will not be eligible for this year's postseason.
Wow. You really do have to be able to bend time and imagine it to work at Jeopardy and trying to figure out all this stuff. Congratulations. Maybe you are Yoda, Sarah. Maybe your husband has a point.
Yeah, I don't think he means it in a positive way, but I appreciate that.
Okay.
Well, let's give everyone kind of that final roundup now that we have completed the qualifying period officially in JAT. Let's just talk about who's in these tournaments. So for Champions Wildcard, we have in order of appearance, Marco Sarek, 2 wins, Jay Fisher, 3 wins, Davey Morrison, 2 wins, Will Weiss, Aiden Orzek, Jen Feldman, Eamon Campbell, Joey DeSena, all with 2 wins, Evan Dory with that impressive 1-game winning, $29,200, Paul Clausen, Mayhal Shaw with 2 wins, Adam Hirsch with a $29,000 single game winning. And then we have our new Stevie Ruiz. He goes out, but he is coming back for Champions Wildcard with 2 wins. The final 2 spots to fill out the field of 15 will go to our second chance winners from week 1 and week 2. We'll have 2 weeks of second chance coming up. Michael, tell us about the TOC field.
What a field. Adriana Harmeyer with those 15 consecutive game wins. Wonderful work. Isaac Hirsch with 9. Drew Basile with 7. Those are the 3 top seeds. Then we have Alison Betts, Amy Hummel, Mark Fitzpatrick, and Greg Jolan with 5. Grant DeYoung, Amma Kakerde, Ryan Manton, Will Wallace with 4 wins. Lucas Partridge, Weki Ironilla, Alison Gross, Will Stewart, Nilesh Vinjamori, David Erb, Rishab Wapalapadi, Kevin Laskowski with 3. Champions Wildcard winner and the Champions Wildcard first runner-up. Sarah.
That's right. Because Lisa Ann Walter is so busy with Abbott Elementary and couldn't be with us as our Celebrity Jeopardy champion, the person who is the first runner-up in Champions Wildcard, which you will see in the upcoming weeks, that person is going to get a spot in the Tournament of Champions, and we will have Lisa Ann back as soon as she will have us. Hopefully she'll be a little less busy. We don't want to wish anything against Abbott Elementary, but hopefully Lisa Ann will be with us for next year's TOC. Well, Michael, we're missing out on our man about town this week, but we couldn't leave our listeners hanging without a "but wait, there's more." So Sam did record a segment for us. Let's take a listen.
Hi, I'm all alone here in the podcast studio. I managed to lock myself in. It's like 3:30 in the morning, and I just figured out how to turn all this equipment on. So, while I'm here, I thought we could talk about the $400 clue in Wednesday's show in the Midwest category. So bring it.
Midwest's 400.
The black-tailed type of this rodent can live in Midwest towns of more than 100 acres with thousands of individual members. Those are prairie dog towns.
There are a lot of rodents in this world, more than 2,000 species, ranging from the capybara of South America, which can go over 100 pounds, down to 2 pygmy species that are only a few inches long, not counting the tails. But the prairie dog is probably the coolest of the rodents, which is kind of like being the tallest garden gnome. It's cool, but really in context. There are several species of prairie dogs, but let's talk about the black-tailed prairie dog that Ken was mentioning. First of all, its Latin species name, Ludovicianus, is a reference to Lewis of Meriwether Lewis. Their expedition was the first time that prairie dogs were collected for science. Second, they're obviously not dogs, but they get their name from the dog-like noise that they sometimes make. In fact, they have one of the most complicated sets of vocalizations of any animals. They have at least 11 vocalizations, and supposedly one call can signal not just there's a human coming, but there's a tall human coming and they're wearing blue. Different calls can identify different predators as well. There's also a complex social organization with these tight-knit family groups. Some males, when reaching maturity, move to other families, while females will be bonded in the group for life. Now, the towns are the most amazing part. These are immense warrens of tunnels and chambers underground. The towns are divided into wards, and the wards are divided into families, and the chambers even have different purposes. Some are close to the ground. We think maybe those are for listening, for predators maybe. Other chambers might be for use as nurseries or for sleeping. While the families are close-knit, one family might fight with the next. So in short, between the millions of inhabitants and the very complicated social structure, a prairie dog town is exactly like New York City, except that the underground tunnels are somehow cleaner. No hate mail, New York, that's just a joke. And the towns can be big as 100 acres, although they vary in size. Before humans restricted their range, the biggest prairie dog town ever, at least according to a guy named Vernon Bailey back in the early 1900s, was supposedly 25,000 square miles and held 400 million prairie dogs. Prairie dogs fit in well with the native flora and fauna, but sadly, prairie dogs and modern agriculture don't always get along. The animals eat a lot of vegetation, and the burrows can be a hazard to cows and horses. We'll see what happens, but in the meantime, check out a prairie dog town near you. Unless you're tall and wearing blue, then they will totally see you coming. And if I don't get out of here in 24 hours, somebody call Ken Jennings. He'll know what to do.
Wow. But that's more than I ever thought I wanted to know about prairie dogs, but there you go.
We can confirm that Buttrey has left the building, if you were worried. Okay, moving on to this week's host chat. An audience member asked Ken, what inspired you to try out for the show?
I had been a huge fan of the show as a kid, but I'd never really been serious about trying out. For some reason, it had never occurred to me that, yeah, you could just try out for the show, Ken. People do that. People must, or the show wouldn't exist. But when I did Quiz Bowl in college, I started to meet friends and people on other teams who would routinely try out for quiz shows. And sometimes I would turn on the TV and I would see somebody I knew on Millionaire or Jeopardy or Win Ben Stein's Money. And I was like, oh, like, these people don't appear here. You know, it's not just like Pasadena homemakers appearing on Match Game or something. Like, people actually have to try out. And so the next time I was in LA, I called Jeopardy to see if they were doing tryouts.
That gives me partial responsibility
Right?
for Ken Jennings because of Millionaire and Win Ben Stein's Money, two of my shows.
There you go. And just think, the next Ken Jennings could be out there not knowing that you can actually try out for the show. Maybe they're listening to the pod, and this could be the moment where you're responsible for them as well.
Well,
you never know.
let's hope so. We want to
Let's hope
inspire
so.
the young. Okay, Sarah, that's it for today's show. You and Sam are going to be back next week for our final pod of 2024.
Hard to believe.
I'm sure it's going to be a banger.
You know it will be. It'll be a banger. Take care.
We're so glad you're here. Stick around and click that subscribe button so you see all our latest videos.